Welcome to the Empower Women and Elevate Executive Roundtable series with senior executive women leaders. We're going to be interviewing Judy Marks today, and Judy is the president and CEO of Siemens Government Technologies. Now, Siemens Government Technologies is a federally compliant U.S. organization of a much larger global organization. And Judy's been heading this unit for about 4 years, but before that, she was 27 years with Lockheed Martin, and that actually started when she joined IBM Federal Systems that got bought, and she ended up running 2 different divisions for Lockheed Martin and had a very extensive career there. Now, her entire career has been in STEM fields. She graduated with a bachelor's in electrical engineering from Lehigh University, where she is currently a member of the institution's advisory board for the P.C. Rawson College of Engineering and Applied Sciences. She's a board director of the Siemens Foundation, which provides more than $7 million annually in grants and other federal support towards science, technology, engineering, and math education. And she's also served on the board of visitors for the University of Maryland's College of Computer, Mathematical, and Natural Sciences. I met Judy when I interviewed her for Executive Leaders Radio and was really interested to find out that she came from a kind of an entrepreneurial background. Her parents owned businesses, and even though she works in these very large technical companies, she brings a very entrepreneurial spirit to her work there. And Judy is a fascinating person on many levels, not least of which is because as a woman in the STEM field, she has excelled, she has been very successful, and she's very committed to helping other women understand how to succeed in this environment. So what we're going to do, I'm going to ask Judy to introduce herself, and then we'll open it up to a dialogue. We've got several folks here on the line who are going to join us in a dialogue with Judy to understand what does it take to get to the top? What does it take to survive in a technical field with our expert, Judy Marks. So Judy, why don't you give us just a few lines yourself about, what is women, leadership, STEM? Where does this all come together?
Sure, Dana, thanks. And thanks all of you for joining us either live or via recording. It's a pleasure to spend the next half hour with you and answer your questions and share one person's insights. And what you'll learn about me is that I don't believe my insights and my values may be identical to anyone else, but they have been my hallmarks and they have guided my career. I am passionate about leadership. I am passionate about the need for science and technology as a foundation for our future as a society. And I try and spend my days and nights basically representing that in the best way I knew how, in a fabric of integrity and hopefully as a role model.
I think you are a role model. I mean, you're a role model to me, which is one of the reasons you're here. And what I'd like to do is open it up and let everyone else on the line here introduce themselves very briefly, just your name and title and your affiliation. Anne, why don't we start with you?
Sure, thanks, Dana. My name is Anne Lair, based in Reston, Virginia, and I'm an executive coach in the DC area as well as nationally.
Great. Caroline?
Hi, I'm Carolyn Clark. I'm a recruiting team lead at ActionNet and affiliated with both Elevate and working with Dana at InPower on with her training program. And I'm also based in the DC area.
Thanks. Priyanka?
Sure. Thank you so much for having me. My name is Priyanka Kobla. I work for the National Academy of Sciences. It's a nonprofit organization, and I'm the project director with the Life Sciences Division. I do digital communications and web strategy.
Great. Lauren, unmute yourself.
Hi, my name is Lauren Rabideau. I'm a financial advisor with Wells Fargo Advisors in Westfield, New Jersey. And my background has been with an investment manager, Lord Abbott, for the past 15 years. So I'm just getting more involved with a lot of the Elevate things that are going on. So that's why I'm here.
Excellent. Well, this is going to be an open discussion. So who has their first question to get it going?
Dana, I'd love to start. So this is Anne. And Judy, thank you so much for your time and for your wisdom today. I just have one question. As you rise to leadership, I've seen you say that it's important to stay true to yourself. What does that really mean, Judy?
Well, thanks, Anne. I said a little bit about this in the intro, but I hold values very dear. But my values may not necessarily be the same as anyone else's. But, you have to decide at different points in your life, a career is a very long time. You have to decide what's important to you at that point in your life. Is it development? Is it moving ahead? Is it work-life balance for what stage you're at that life? You've got to do what works for you and not let others judge you. You've got to be able to look yourself in the mirror. As I said, there are certain things in my life that are sacrosanct, ethics, integrity, and certain things that I hold true and dear. But as you go through a career and a long time, there are times that you may not be willing to be on the road all the time. There may not be times that you're not willing to miss certain things in your child's life. You're the only one who can make that call, and I would encourage you to make that call yourself, with your partner, with your group, but not worry about what everybody else thinks. Do what's right for you. Be true to yourself.
And Judy, I think that's a really good segue into a question I had, which is looking at women's paths these days as it relates to their career and going, for the executive leadership positions or staying more in middle management, which has its own set of difficulties and obstacles to overcome. So I guess just what is your take on giving advice to women heading towards either of those paths?
Well, I think the fair advice is nothing's really easy. But we all signed up for challenges. If it were easy, anyone could do it. And typically what drives a person to achieve more or to try to accomplish more is their desire, their commitment, their ability to contribute at a higher level. There's, as you move up in an organization, you're going to face different challenges, and you're going to face different accountability and responsibility that goes with that. And where in middle management at times you may be faced with a challenge and you say, boy, that's really not my capability, or that's not, I've heard people say that's not my pay grade, that's a decision someone else has to make. As you move up, those are your calls to make. Even in middle management at times, you're the one who's empowered to make those. Now, I'll also share with you that, a lot of people tend to get paralyzed by analysis. And, I'm an engineer by degree, Dana said that, and I'm an interesting blend of entrepreneur and engineer because I try not to get paralyzed by it. On a good day, if most of my decisions go well, then it's been a great day, actually. But at least I make those decisions, I make them with judgment, I make them with analysis, and I move on. Also, as you move up there, let's not kid ourselves, there are more sacrifices. There are more time demands on you. And you've got to be willing, as does whatever unit you're part of, whoever's important in your life, you all have to be willing to go into that with your eyes wide open. And again, you have to stop from letting others judge you.
Judy, you said something there that I really want to hone in on regarding the sacrifices. I know you have a daughter. What did you tell your daughter growing up about the sacrifices that you were making?
Well, I was actually, ironically, my daughter's in a STEM field, so I'm very proud of her. She's graduated as a civil engineer and works here in DC for one of the large construction management companies. So even though I didn't proselytize at home on STEM and tried not to be an advocate 24 hours a day at home, it must have rubbed off. And again, I'm just very proud of the woman she's become and a contributor to industry. But there's two things I really told her, Dana, and my husband Jeff and I did this all the time. One is find something you enjoy doing and then excel at it. And there's no right or wrong answer on what you enjoy doing or what you choose. It's what you choose. It's your choice, and pursue it with passion and excellence once you make that choice. And so that was one piece. The sacrifice, as she grew up and got older, we had open discussions. There were 2 times in my career I commuted every week, once for about 16 months, second time for about 18 months. And I'd leave and be gone all week. In the second one, which was actually closer to now, the 16-month period in 2005, as we were going through that, I offered to her that I would continue to do this so she could finish high school in upstate New York. And we all decided as a family, no, we really wanted more time together. We wanted to live in the same place. And that's when in 2006, we moved here to DC together. So she finished high school here. And again, it was a joint decision as she got older. You know, I think there's some great ecosystems around. When I was doing that first commute, the teachers were very understanding. They would try to put the plays on a Friday so I could attend them. So I think if you explain to people what's going on, no different than in the work environment, and you communicate, but I did miss things, and I accepted that, and I still accept it, and I don't lose sleep over it. It was our normal. It was how our family grew up together and was raised, and that's what I'm proud of.
Great.
I have a quick question, Dana, if I can go next. Judy, thank you so much for sharing those pearls of wisdom. You've had a very distinguished career. So when you look back, what advice would you give to your younger self? Because it looks like you have so much of passion to pursue things in life, but I'm in my early stages of my career, and sometimes I feel I have to keep myself motivated because, as you said, I don't want to let others judge me, and only I know what's good for me. So any advice that you would give to your younger self that would benefit people like me?
The advice I give, and I've given this to any aspiring career person of any background, woman, man, any background, is again, find something that makes you happy. If you're not happy, go do something else in your career. You will spend more time and energy at work in your career, whether it be 30, 40 years, than any other part of your life primarily. So find something you're happy doing. That doesn't mean you're going to be happy every hour of the day. It doesn't mean there aren't going to be challenges. It doesn't mean you're not going to get frustrated. But when you're working long hours, it needs to be something that you're committed to. I'll tell you, the long hours don't stop as you move up in responsibility. I don't know who thinks they have a normal 40-hour work week in the United States these days, but I don't think they exist. I don't think they ever existed for people who were trying to make a difference either in their own businesses or in a corporate enterprise or in a nonprofit. I always worked very hard and very diligent, and the advice I'd give you is work hard, find something you're happy doing, and a career is an awfully long time. And if during that time, if you're going to take time off, as some of the things in your life have more impact than others, life events, do it. No one remembers the time I took off when my daughter was born. It's irrelevant in what's now a 31-year so far career. Yeah, 31-year career. You know, but do I remember it? You bet. And do I appreciate it? Absolutely.
Judy, I'd love to piggyback on that. So I do a lot of work in Silicon Valley, a lot of tech companies, and right now the average percentage of professionals, women, is 6% in Silicon Valley. So I know that's not the same for all STEM, but I have a 10-year-old daughter. She's kind of thinking about a STEM career. You know, obviously in the DC area, there's lots of opportunities for her to start playing around. But I'm curious, would that advice change if you were talking to a woman who's trying to make it in a STEM career?
No, I think, honestly, I think a STEM career gives women even more capacity to achieve. I mean, you know, I think about attributes that I look for when we interview STEM candidates, professional candidates, be they coming out of university or mid-career. And, you know, we look for people who can solve problems. We look for people who can collaborate. We look for people who have a passion and who know at the end of the day, if they work hard enough, they can achieve and solve what's probably a customer problem. Because I try to keep everybody customer focused on the customer's mission so that they can solve that problem. That's what you learn in math and science. It's that ability to continue to work through a problem to a solution. It may not be the same solution set every time, but that's where the innovation comes in. And, you know, I think back when I was in university and, you know, it was, you know, yes, the dynamics were, you know, very few women. And technology was radically different. I mean, I used punch cards my first semester in Fortran. So here in my short career, I've seen tremendous technological advancements, I've also seen the ability for good leaders to achieve. And a lot of those good leaders are women because they have that technical background and they have the ability to drive teams to perform and to collaborate. And collaboration, alignment, and teamwork are what really, in today's world, drive achievement.
Thank you.
And going back to, you spoke a little bit about the time you spent throughout your career to raise a family or different commitments at home. What is your response? And I know there was an article last year, I can't remember the specifics, about having it all though as a woman and leaning in and what that means. So what is your input or perspective on that discussion in terms of, can women have it all and what does that look like?
Sure, you can have it all, just not at the same time. I mean, you can have it all. If someone's figured out how to have it all at the same time, I don't know what it is. For my family, and I do make this personal because I keep saying this is our normal. No one else lives the same life we do. No one else lives the same exact path that anyone who's going to watch this on the web does. You may have friends and peer careers. No one follows the exact same ladder. No one goes through their life changes at the same time. So why do you need to compare yourself to others? Find a place that works for you and do those trades. And, we did those trade-offs together as a family, when it was appropriate, when opportunities were offered to me. I didn't say yes and then go home and say, hey, great, we're moving to X. It was interesting opportunity. And then we balanced am I passionate about it? Will I be frustrated if I stay longer in my current position? Am I bored? I'm not good when I'm bored. I'm an impatient person. And will this help me develop more as a person? So you develop skills, right? And those could be leadership skills, technical skills, governance skills for boards of directors, and you develop skills for life. And I think if you do a critical skill assessment at different stages in your career, you say, what more do I want to do in the next chapter? That next chapter could very well be in the same place you are, in the same role you're in, and you just take a different view of it. It could be in your same enterprise, just in a different assignment, or it could be in a totally different enterprise. But the really neat part is you get to make that decision.
Judy, I happen to know that your husband was very much a part of these decisions along the line. Can you tell us a little bit about what he's been doing this whole time?
Yeah, he's, he probably deserves a medal for being married to me. But he has been a fantastic partner. We met on a blind date. I graduated in 84. We met in 85, engaged in 86, married in 87, and have been together except for a lot of this quite extensive travel and commuting ever since. And he now lives here in Potomac, Maryland. We are together in an empty nester house, I'm proud to say, with our daughter in the district. But he's been a part of this. Now, we're not alike. Myers-Briggs were opposites in terms of personalities. And he knew I had this drive and this ambition. I couldn't have told you what it was in the 80s. I would never have predicted, the leadership responsibility that I've been challenged with and given in multiple times. But I just kept trying to work hard at what I was doing and to excel, and others would recognize that. And then I'd reach again and take risks. But every time I did that, he was involved along the way, and we'd discuss it. He's not part of a corporate enterprise, never was. He owned a family business, but he understood the basics, which is why I think some of these leadership messages resonate with everyone, which is, so he's always listened. He's unfortunately listened to far too many telecons over Bluetooth in the car when we've been driving places, but it's been a balance. And I couldn't have achieved what I've done without having him there for support, because he was always able to go to the school, to drop off our daughter. And I was not that reliable. Because of that, I couldn't be the disciplinarian, but we worked through all that with each other. So he's been a fantastic support And again, I couldn't achieve what I've achieved without him.
That's amazing, Judy. I'm glad you had the perfect life partner, maybe if I put it that way.
Well, don't, this is getting recorded. No one's perfect, myself or him.
I know. That should. Dana mentioned that your parents had the entrepreneurial spirit. Can you share a little bit about the childhood or your upbringing and how your parents were instrumental in probably helping you aim high? Any insights on those?
Sure, I'm happy to. I was born and raised in the Philadelphia area, and my father basically ended up as a partner in a department store, even though he had started at an entry level. So he and another gentleman owned a small department store outside of Philadelphia. So we were all as a family. I don't know if you're hearing any feedback.
It's better. Go ahead and keep talking.
Okay, sorry. So as a family, we were raised all working in the store. I'm the youngest of 3 children. I have a fantastic brother and sister who both have done very well in their careers. And we were all raised to understand the importance of trends, because it was very real on our livelihood. And we knew when there were bad years and good years. And we all worked in the business. So we all started out fairly young and understood the value of working hard and saw the direct correlation of what that meant to our family. My parents valued education. They committed that all 3 of us would go to university. They were the first in their families to go to college. Some of their parents were immigrants. So it's just been a tremendous, in my mind, short journey from grandparents to my parents, who were the first to college. My mother was a substitute teacher, but my father really taught us to value people, to value relationships. He led this organization of basically everything from salespeople to clerks to stock boys. And my siblings and I all went through that. You know, we worked at the gift wrap table at the holidays, and then we worked our way up to working at the counters. And so we understood the value and the hard work. And, you know, retail's hard. You know, it's 7 days a week. A lot of the time it's 6 days a week, the majority of the year. And it's got seasonality, right? You make the majority of your living between Thanksgiving and Christmas. And, you know, we learned that, and none of us wanted to go into retail. And yet, I'll tell you, I mean, I'm in a publicly traded corporation. There's seasonality, right? We have quarter points, we have everything. So it's ironic what you think as a child you don't want to do. And then, you know, as you go in your career, you find out there's so many similarities of lessons you learned younger on.
That's amazing. It's inspiring to see how those values shaped up your career and your personality. Thank you so much for sharing that information with us.
All I'd offer is treat customers fairly and treat your employees with respect and dignity. Give them an opportunity to excel, hold them accountable, but create an environment where they're empowered and can excel and serve the customers. And if you do that, your shareholders will be taken care of, at least in a for-profit enterprise. That's the simplest way to do it. Just treat everyone with respect, create an environment where everyone can excel.
Thank you.
I'm wondering, Judy, if you feel that women should help other women. You know, you've grown up without a lot of women alongside you at various parts of your career, being in a technical field. What is your perspective on how women should support each other in the workplace or not? Should we all just be, you know, equal and help each other as much as we help other men and anybody else who we want to help?
Well, I'll tell you, I sit here now at a different stage in my career probably than some of the people who are going to watch this. But I will tell you now, looking back, I absolutely believe we have a responsibility to make things better for the next generation. I believe part of that responsibility is to make it better for the next generation of women. But I think in general, we have a responsibility to make it better for the next workforce, no matter who they are. I mentor a lot of women, but I don't turn down any men, if they want to be mentored, because I think you have that leadership ability and that just ability to listen. And I find typically in a mentoring relationship at this level, it's not technical. It's not about programmatics. It's about, how do you find your way? How do you deal with the political aspects? How do you get access when needed? How do you get exposure? How do you find a coach? How do you do these kind of things? How do you identify those skills you're lacking? So I really do think we have a responsibility to each other, but more importantly to the next generation. We need to leave the workplace and the work environment for all of us better than when we got here.
Judy, just to close out then, do you, in terms of mentoring, so mentor us for a minute, and what would you say are the top 2 things that women need to hear from their mentors to understand the corporate culture and how to succeed in it? Your final advice.
Well, final advice, number 1 is work hard. Nothing replaces diligent hard work, because the results do speak for themselves. And number 2, find an environment where you can succeed. And if you don't think you're in that kind of environment and you've tried and you're frustrated and unhappy, find another environment. Be happy and be true to yourself.
Well, thank you for those words, because as a coach, those are words I often give to other people, women especially, and it's good to hear that you feel that that's important too. I want to thank you, Judy, for your time with us here today and sharing not just your experience, but your life experience, which is very valuable as we all seek to look at what success will look like for us. And I'd like to thank our panelists, Carolyn Clark and Anne-Laure Priyanka, and we have Lauren on the phone too. This will be uploaded to YouTube at the InPowerWomen.com channel. You can come to InPowerWomen.com to get notifications for future interviews like this and participate. And I want to also thank our partner Elevate for helping us get the word out and put this event together. Thank you very much. Take care, everybody.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Dave.